Hello everybody and welcome to another Beyond All Reason video. Today we are back on the map FTL and our players today are Yun and Modulo. Yun fresh off a defeat of Eno on the channel. We'll see if Yun is able to win against Modulo today. And building vehicles here and playing as Armada, choosing to start in a different start position than we normally see on this map. Yun is not necessarily picking a bad choice here, as it means that getting this position here to block off any sort of raids is going to be pretty quick and is actually not that bad a spot. Now, the only reason why we mention about this spot over here is due to if you start up here, you can quickly grab these three and then build your factory off the edge here and actually cap these three as well whilst being up the top. You don't actually need to walk down because they're close enough to the ramp that build range goes over the edge, and that can save you some time. But if you want to use your commander offensively, it is a worse position to be in due to the fact the distance your commander has to travel. So once he's built that, he has to walk all the way back around here to get to the front. If you plan on using him for build power and building up a base, then it's not actually that bad of an idea to have him up there. So it completely depends on how you use your commander. Yun and Modulo here, both going for an aggressive play with their commander. At least that's what the plan looks to be. Modulo is also playing Armada and has also gone Armada vehicles. Now, there is one con for each side already at the top here, with Modulo using his constructor at the top to build out some stuff. We may end up seeing some air plays for this center part here and here. Also, it may not look like it as we rotate the map, but there is actually a section of the map here, which is just space. And quite often, this area over here tends to be a bit of a dead zone. So unless you have a radar up here, quite often you can get airdrops that come around, drop stuff on the top, or bombers and gunships that come around there and just do damage to the eco at the top. Pretty hard to spot stuff coming that way unless you control this hill here or this low ground area. Now, there is a geo there and a geo at the bottom, but I don't think I've ever seen them built, which is a bit of a shame. Now, Yun is going hard right down the center here. He is not waiting for anything. He still hasn't capped these additional three right outside of his base, which he could have done with this constructor here. It does look like he's planning on doing that. And is pumping out Januses. So we'll see how the Januses do. One of the best units in Armada's arsenal really is the Janus. Basically a mini banisher, if you're not sure what they are. And Yun actually managing to move very, very far forward here. Now, he has got a very cheeky radar up here, which will give him some good vision, as you can see, especially coming straight out of that entryway. Now, both players have gone Januses. Now, Januses only need, unless their damage has been changed, if my memory served, you need 7 Januses in order to insta-pop a commander. I believe that's still accurate. If that's not, feel free to correct me in the comments. Obviously, the one problem with Januses is that they end up shooting their load a bit too soon. And Modulo does degun one of the Januses. The Januses are quite expensive with 2,000 energy. Yun's commander in a bit of a dangerous spot here. You see that one Janus rocket does tremendous damage, and Yun now down to 13% health. Second degun from Modulo, unable to secure that next Janus. But now this has put Yun in a difficult situation. Yun's plan was probably to spam out Januses, contest Modulo's commander, and use his commander to heal up his Januses and keep them alive. Now, he's somewhat unable to fulfill that role now with his commander being so low health. And you can see just how much damage the Januses take being against another Armada commander. Now, Modulo is doing an interesting play here. He's building some blitzes with the intention of just making the rockets get spammed out from the Januses. And it has worked out quite effectively. But grouping up units almost causes Modulo to lose all of his Januses. And now there is enough here quite easily that they could pop Modulo. His commander is only at 50% health. Doesn't have that much to really stop the aggression. And now Yun, with 6 of them, definitely has enough to deal with a half health Modulo. However, Modulo is probably thinking the exact same thing right now. Is Yun is very low health. I could quite easily pop him if I can just get a couple of Janus shots through. So, question will be, who will go for the pop? Ooh. Now, what we did see there was an attempt to get a scout to sit right next to Yun's commander so that the Janus shots would actually hit the commander instead. Didn't manage to play it off. And here he goes trying to get Modulo's commander. The LLT and other forces will be enough to make Yun fall back though. See, one volley almost takes out an LLT of just a single Janus. Now, although Yun hasn't really expanded well down to these because of a scout, this factory at the top will help him secure these 4 additional metal extractors. Now, he is wanting to reclaim this bot lab, which he will now do with the constructor, which will help. But you can see how Yun's commander is only up to 20% health now. And here come the scouts being used here to soak up the Janus shots. Unfortunately for Modulo, 4 Januses fired on a single Janus there. The set target was made on Yun's commander and he has 50 health. Literally, he just needed a single Janus rocket or maybe even a Whistler more would have been enough to kill Yun. And Yun is, as you can see, the spam now on the AA. He is expecting gunship, a single gunship to just come and finish him off. But that is not what Modulo has planned. Modulo doing a decent job now of securing that. He's pushed Yun back. Yun's commander still unable to really contest. Where is he taking that? Oh, he's going right back here. He's going to get healed up by that construction turret and then come back out, I think. Oh, or he's just changed his mind. Attempting a scout rush here to do the exact same thing he just tried before. Get right up close to the commander. Have the Januses self-damage, but no, they were cleared up pretty effectively. This has forced Yun's commander back though. He was wanting to hang out a little bit more at the front, but he can't really afford to risk it. Commander is back up to 11%, 400 health, but that's not a lot really. Modulo is kind of idling though. He could be building this metal extractor with his commander. He is trying to just rush out some mines on this other side here to slow down any potential expansion from Yun. And the same with the bottom. But at the same time, he hasn't capped these at all. He hasn't bothered to think about these 3 up here. Now, if he would have sent... all the pressure has been put on the middle. Both players focusing very heavily on their micro at the moment rather than their macro. Oh, what happened to the rockets there? I don't think I've ever seen a Janus mess up that badly. Ah, they have no vision. Seems Modulo is now trying to prepare a blitz rush here with the expectation that the commander is still there and maybe he can just rush down the Januses, get enough damage. He needs to spread these blitzes out though. Looking at economy though, Yun is ahead. Mostly, pretty much entirely due to these 3 will be 4 metal extractors at the top, providing him with an additional 6 metal. Oh yeah, well you can tell that, can't you? Because I'm up there. 6 metal difference between the 2 players. And interesting enough, Modulo is building energy converters when, again, he's still got uncapped mexes here. He's building mines to slow his opponent's expansion, but you could just cap them. There's even 2 down here, but no. Beamer now up as well. Modulo carefully waiting. Radar gets taken out. But Yun is getting ahead on economy the longer this goes on for. Now, he has invested a fair amount into beamers. Here comes the attack. Will it be enough to break the line? The Janus volleys still get a lot done. Trying to just get in between all the Januses. There's still quite a few of them alive. 8 left. Did do a fair amount of damage, but not really enough. Modulo trying to disrupt the metal extractors on this high ground. He could go air, but no, doubling down on
battle paused.
The
battle
vehicle
resumed.
production. Finally reclaiming one of his labs. Now, Yun has gotten an air transport here to kind of get the constructors back up here to try and cap some of these metal, which is, you know, good, valid idea. But Modulo's army value is looking very, very, very anemic right now. This is basically Modulo's army. 1 Blitz, 1 Whistler, and a stuck Janus that literally cannot move. There's not much really stopping Yun just rushing through with what he's got already. Oh, attempted tank drop though, coming from Yun, and the different direction as we would be expecting it as well. Normally you'd expect an airdrop along the top like we mentioned at the beginning, but no. Going along the bottom. Modulo with very little radar. He did see the air transport, so he should know it's coming. He literally sees it again. Why did he move it away? He's moved his tanks away the opposite direction. What are you doing? Modulo, please. A little bit of miss micro there. Although all it's managed to do so far is get 1 AA, 2 AAs, and a metal extractor. But he will manage to eat the 225 metal that comes with the unit. So it's not that big a deal, really. He's probably made a profit. And as we deselect, army value still massive advantage Yun. Wouldn't surprise me if we see Yun maybe go Tech 2 soon. He is in a pretty good spot. He doesn't realize it necessarily, but he's got a decent army as we see the Stouts and Janus combo, a very typical combo. A lot of friendly fire taking place though, still from the Januses and the Scout spam. Say it, look, another tank killed, 1 tank heavily damaged, just purely down to Janus's and their inability to know friend from foe. And now everything goes silent. Yun going Tech 2. Modulo still no Tech 2. How can Modulo turn this around? Well, he doesn't know that he's necessarily an economy deficit. You would think he should, due to knowing... What can he see, actually? Let's have a look, shall we? Right. So he knows his opponent's back up here. He has vision due to the LLT. He knows his opponent's back up there. He knows his opponent has this high ground. Now, He needs to contest one of these. He could go air and try and just take control of this top section. The amount of defenses up here will make it somewhat difficult, but not like the end of the world. He is trying to use his commander to contest this top area, but unless he gets units up there, this construction vehicle will just build a beamer and, you know, that'll be it. He could send these tanks up there to try and contest that, but obviously he can't do that now, because if he does that, Yun will send his forces up behind him, and his units will get sandwiched, and then he will lose his army and the reclaim. So air is probably a good call. He could maybe build a couple of arties or something and try and put some pressure up here just to slowly harass the stuff. He could also do the same thing for here with a couple of arties. He would need air, maybe an air transport. An air transport getting an arty up here would be pretty hard for Yun to keep control of that area. But Modulo looks like his decision is he's going to try and end the game with air. If we select the factory, we can see he's building a bunch of gunships and fighters. His opponent, though, of course, getting further and further ahead with the Tech 2 economy. And bear in mind, Modulo doesn't know his opponent is Tech 2 yet. He hasn't seen it all this time that he's been sitting back here just ecoing up. Modulo has not been able to apply any pressure. He does know his opponent's got air, but that's about it. We see a spy bot making its way out to the front, as well as, I think I saw a tumbleweed. Yeah. Tumbleweed, for some reason. Ooh, losing quite a lot of his tanks, though, due to mines here. Hell on toast, hoping for the tumbleweed drops. Oh. The sacrifice of the single stout there in an attempt to see where the army is and to take some of the volleys. I expected a follow-up there from Modulo, but no. Now here comes the attack. Modulo's commander will be there to provide repairs for the stouts as they make the push. Second sacrificial stout goes in. Volley gone. EMP bot though with a tremendous EMP, leaving Modulo's commander on its own. Nothing to degun, everything out of range, no damage, and that will be pretty much it for that attack. Gunships do make their way in, but no fighter support yet. And this entire fight goes up in smoke. Modulo would have just got the alert saying Tech 2 units detected.
Commander,
and
self-destructed.
he knows that he is nowhere near able to meet that Tech 2. With this recluse in the background as well, slowly whittling down his economy. Well done, both players. Modulo really needed to apply more pressure. He kept throwing away his units a bit, but it was a good game by both. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.